And also what I do is, you know, if I'm doing a big iceberg and I know it's going to be two containers of clay, I pause it when it's right in the middle, because if the weight is evenly distributed between all three, that it's in the middle, then it tends not to slip down. But if one of these is high over here, then that one slips down until all three are the same level.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So you want to avoid this?
So you want to, if you are going to pause it when it's sort of somewhere near the middle. And also what I do is I've got some clothes pegs, and I just, as I pause it, I put pegs on that, and that holds it.
Okay.
But that's the way I work in the
It's quite fast building up the walls.
Yeah,
Compared to those megabots, they're tiny little.
You can see that's a little bit thick at this stage, so you can turn down. You see with the forced air I'm working from on top. At the moment the wall is quite strong, but later on if I go sideways, the air can push the wall over, and then you So at home I've got a spotlight, and the heat of the light does the drying. Yeah, when it works, it's nice.
I saw it.
Now, I haven't got a knife with me, but I could just cut away the extra clay now, or I leave it and cut the clay away later. But sometimes if you use a lot of hair dryer, this clay gets quite dry, and it's easier to cut it when it's soft. Then you must make sure that when you're cutting it, that you don't move the base. And so that's why I'm putting a bit of extra clay here just to hold the base. Now I also, from experience, watch the clay as it's coming out. When it starts getting a bit granular like that, I feel it's getting a bit thin. So I'm just going to press up, a little bit of pressure. So just a little bit more pressure so it's fatter, so it's not dragging. It is almost as the clay wasn't coming out quite fast enough. But you need to just watch it. If you're coming too fast, that's where it lifts up. And sometimes a little bit of clay gets stuck on there, just on the nozzle, and then when you're drying, that then gets dry and it actually blocks it. So I've got a paintbrush and I sometimes just keep cleaning the nozzle a bit.
So you keep watching it on the process?
More or less, but this is where I then go and prepare more clay, do something else, work on the computer, just keeping an eye. But it's no plug-and-play system. You can't just plug it in and go away.
But you could make some kind of adaptations, right? Like for example, if you would stick a small piece of wet sponge above the nozzle, it would keep it like...
Probably, yeah.
Or like this... Yeah.
To self-clean it, there would be ways. You know, on the whole, it's not too much problem. I just get in there with this little paint.
Also the file in the end twisted, like the object in the file twists, becomes like this.
This isn't the file that I prepared on my computer.
No, I mean, but that file should be this way.
This one? Yeah.
It's not about. It's not because of the tension or something.
No, that shape. It always is pulled just slightly round.
Okay.
from your model, you'll find that they just have a tiny little bit of twist, but I wouldn't worry about it. So the whole time I just feel clay isn't a very precise medium, most base materials.
For the workers to know that
I see.
Their lunch now.
Get out!
So it's my lunchtime. Bye-bye.
Well, actually it's 15 minutes before lunch because they have to know that they have to clean up before.
Yeah. I want something.
That's new, right? Next step would be electrician. Get on this.
But you don't dry it this time.
I think this would now be alright for a while not drying. This shape I've done quite often, and I can do the whole shape almost without drying. I know it's just useful to dry a little bit at the bottom, so because it's like the foundation, make sure the foundation's strong, then the building stands on top better. But if you've got a shape that's going in and out, then you have to be there with a dryer all the time. As soon as you start coming out sideways in the drying, or if it's sort of a shape that is a bit more on one side than the other. And in fact, this is sliced. This is a very old file. But I know it works, that's why I went back to it. The new slicer, when it's working properly, it runs a bit faster than this. So it's another parameter you can do is to the speed that this is going, because if you're printing a small thing or a very narrow thing, obviously it's going around very fast relatively, and then the clay is quite soft and not having time to dry. But if you're making a bigger thing, then the clay's got more time to dry as it goes around. So you could, big things you can print faster because it's got more time to stiffen up.
Do you, for instance, know how many slices this form contains?
It probably said it on, I don't, but it probably said it on the software somewhere. There's a little readout here, I'd say it's 25% completed. Print time so far,
so it's about maybe
8 minutes.
300 slices.
Yeah. I can't remember. This was probably sliced at about 8 millimeters. Right, so what do we do after lunch?
Well, maybe we try a file from anybody, just seeing what happens.
Yeah?
I'm wondering what happens if we have a file that is closed.
Yeah.
What does the machine do? Does it actually close everything, or what happens?
No, what part?
Let's say we have just a simple cube,
Yeah.
closed body. What happens with the inside? Because now you have a hollow body.
Yeah.
What happens if you just give him a cube?
On the slicing program, you might have seen with a plastic, you can set infill. Now, I never do infill because I'm making these vessels.
Yeah.
But you can set infill, and then it would do an internal structure as well.
Okay.
And it all depends what you're setting is 5%, 10%, 20%. Those two, and also the shape. You can have it just as lines or as a grid. Exactly. That's quite interesting thing to do. As I say, in Sweden we experimented with it a little bit because we had a dome form to do. So we needed internal structure to hold the lines as it got made. So it prints the shell, and then it prints a bit of internal structure, the shell internal structure, but it starts taking a long time to finish.
Okay.
And when it's clay or another kind of ceramic, how is it with the infill to get it out? I mean,
it stays there.
Yeah, but if you want to burn it, maybe it explodes.
No, interestingly, but I'm with you that there should be air trapped inside. Somewhere I think you'd need to have a little hole just so the air, into the inside so the air can come out. But all the little chambers I think feed into each other all right.
But it changed the surface when it dries?
You need to dry, yeah, exactly. I'm thinking you need to dry it slowly. So these sort of forms I can actually dry quite fast. For an exhibition I needed to work quickly, and I printed something in the morning and put it in the kiln that night. Exactly. But if it had internal structure, you couldn't dry it that fast. I think you have problems, so you just need to dry it a bit more slowly.
But then depending on the material, you would also notice the inner surface when it dries, and when you fire it, you see kind of
yeah, that structure.
Porcelain,
yeah.
At least you see it.
I should think you probably would. Yeah. But you know, as you saw with my videos, more rounded shapes. I've got samples. I must get them out. I use that powder support system, so you know it's been supported on the outside, but then it gets brushed away. Very nice. But then it was a matter of just continually development. You know, because at first I was only using syringes that size, so I could only make things this size. And then the syringe ran out, then I stuck 2 syringes together, and then I found this system. You know, so you just get more comfortable about all the material. And at first I wasn't sieving the clay, I was mixing it as well as I could, putting it in. And so I found the pressure changed, and all of a sudden the wall would start going thin, and then I'd switch up the pressure, and then it would come flat, and then I'd put down the pressure, and all it was because I think my paste was thick, thin, thick, thin. So whatever paste you use, you want to try and make sure it's a nice even consistency. You know, the chocolate, I melted it and just stirred the chocolate, and it was so runny it wasn't a problem. So we're using the chocolate, as I said, it's a small syringe, but here we're working at about 1 bar of pressure. With the chocolate it was a quarter of a bar of pressure. It didn't, and that I used my hand pump and a fizzy bottle. So I suggest we kind of have this machine set up for clay. Then the department machine we can set up with the pump action system for using very running materials. And possibly the experimental on one machine, and then people can get more productive on the other machines.
Is it not better to print the bases that grow outward inverse?
It could well be. Yeah, there's certainly a form that grows inwards is more stable. Yeah, and then you just put the base on after.
Maybe for the porcelain, because it's not so.
Yeah. Well, the porcelain actually dries quite nice and quickly. I think you'll find the porcelain would dry quicker than this. You can see how soft it is.
Yeah.
But I do find if I use the hairdryer, when I was first developed the machine, I was doing just straight cylinders to test it. And each time I put the hairdryer on, the cylinder starts going like this a little bit. Only ever so little. But it's because the clay dries. It then gets a bit stiffer, and so the new clay coming out it feels that it's more solid, so it pressures a bit more, and then it starts getting loose because there's no heat, so it doesn't expand it so much. So it's a combination of that's why I went to the lights that can just be constant heat. But also a little bit of that often doesn't matter, I don't think. If you wanted to make precise computer things, possibly, but if you're making hopefully objects to live with, a bit of imperfection, I guess. Right, this is 74%.